Are you talking about the Hammer? Dancing Hammer?
The baddest cat out there.
Can't touch this. Touch this.
Hip-hop in the late 80s and early 90s was a different world. The industry was raw, still fighting for mainstream acceptance, and dominated by East Coast and West Coast sounds. While rap had made its way into pop culture, it was still seen as a street thing, something for the neighborhoods, the block parties, and the underground clubs. It wasn't yet the billion-dollar empire it would become. And then, out of nowhere, a man from Oakland, California came through and flipped the entire game on its head. That man was MC Hammer. Before the platinum plaques and flashy suits, before the baggy parachute pants and stadium tours, Hammer was just Stanley Kirk Burrell, a kid from East Oakland trying to make something of himself. He wasn't born into money. He didn't come from an industry family. What he had was hustle, the kind of drive you can't teach, the kind that either gets you out of the hood or has you stuck in it forever. Hammer's first taste of the spotlight wasn't in music, it was in baseball. As a teenager, he worked as a bat boy for the Oakland A's, running around the dugouts, picking up game tips from legends. The players noticed him, not just because of his energy, but because of his hustler's mentality. He was always grinding, always looking for ways to make a dollar, whether it was selling stray baseballs or hyping up players before games. That's where he got the nickname Hammer, and because Reggie Jackson thought he looked like a young Hank Aaron, one of baseball's greatest hitters. But as much as Hammer loved baseball, music was his real passion. The Bay Area had a growing hip-hop scene, but it wasn't respected on the same level as New York or LA. Hammer saw an opening, a way to take hip-hop beyond the streets and into the mainstream. And once he set his mind to it, there was no stopping him. Without a record deal, without label backing, Hammer started from the ground up. He took $20,000 that he borrowed from a friend and used it to press his first independent album, Feel My Power. This wasn't some mixtape handed out in the parking lot. Hammer hustled hard to sell those records. He performed anywhere that would have him, from community centers to clubs, building up a fan base the old school way. And when people saw him live, they couldn't look away. Hammer wasn't just rapping, he was performing. His stage shows were unlike anything hip-hop had ever seen. He had backup dancers, crazy energy, and a presence that made him look larger than life. This was hip-hop meets Broadway, and fans were eating it up. By the time he landed a record deal, Hammer had already put in more work than most signed artists. And when Please Hammer Don't Hurt 'Em dropped in 1990, he changed the game forever. Then came You Can't Touch This. This wasn't just a hit, it was a cultural movement. The song exploded on radio, MTV, commercials, award shows, everywhere. It was catchy, it was fun, and most importantly, it was different. Rap had always been about street stories and social issues, but Hammer brought a level of showmanship that made hip-hop accessible to everybody. The industry had never seen a rapper blow up this big, this fast. At his peak, Hammer was worth between $30 million and $50 million. He wasn't just making money, he was printing it. But what happens when you go from nothing to everything overnight? If you're not ready for it, that money can disappear just as fast as it came in. With the kind of money Hammer was making, he could have been set for life. But when you've never had wealth before, when you come from nothing and suddenly have everything, it's easy to lose control. Hammer didn't just buy himself the finer things, he took care of everybody. He wasn't just a star, he was a one-man economy. He hired over 200 employees, including bodyguards, chefs, trainers, personal assistants, and even spiritual advisors. He wasn't just running a music career, he was running an empire. One of his biggest purchases was his $10 million mansion in Fremont, California. This wasn't just a big house, it was a statement. The place had a bowling alley, tennis courts, multiple pools, and a 17-car garage. But the problem with lavish spending is that once you start, it's hard to stop. Hammer's generosity became legendary. He bought his entire entourage luxury cars, Rolex watches, and designer suits. He made sure everyone around him felt rich, but no one was telling him his fortune wouldn't last forever. And then came the downfall. By the mid-90s, hip-hop was changing. The flashy, fun rap that Hammer made famous was falling out of style. The streets wanted something harder, more raw, and gangsta rap was taking over. Hammer tried to adjust, but fans weren't buying his rebrand. His new music wasn't selling, and the industry that once embraced him turned its back on him. In 1996, the unthinkable happened. MC Hammer filed for bankruptcy. He had $13 million in debt, and the money was gone. The mansion? Sold at a loss. The cars? Gone. The massive staff, gone. He went from being one of the richest men in hip-hop to having almost nothing left. It was a harsh lesson, but Hammer wasn't one to stay down forever. Despite everything, Hammer never stopped hustling. Even after losing millions, he refused to disappear. He tried rebranding, releasing new music, and even making a brief reality TV comeback. He invested in tech, made TV appearances, and stayed active in pop culture. But his real legacy isn't just about money, it's about impact. Hammer made it possible for hip-hop to go mainstream. He showed that rap could sell out stadiums, land major brand deals, and become a global phenomenon. Without Hammer, there's no Diddy, no Drake, no Jay-Z hitting billionaire status. Today, Hammer's estimated net worth is around $1.5 million, a fraction of what he once had, but proof that he never let the industry break him completely. His story is a cautionary tale, but also an inspiration. It's a reminder that money comes and goes, but legacy is forever. And if you ask anyone from that era, they'll tell you the same thing. No matter what happened, MC Hammer changed the game, and that you can't touch.